SYLVANIA off-road LED lights are rugged, versatile, and well-built, with multiple beam patterns available to match your application. Before you begin, here is a list of tools that you may need to complete your installation. Some vehicles offer auxiliary buttons in the cabin of the vehicle to power off-road lights too. Another way to power the new lights is to tap into an existing circuit that is engaged at the same time you want your LED lights to turn on. The first step to tapping into an existing circuit is to connect the wires you intend to use to the connectors that will plug into the lights. Be sure to be cognizant of the wire size you are using for your application, especially if you are joining multiple lights together in a single circuit. 14 AWG is good up to a 15 amp load, 12 for 20 amps, and 10 for 30 amps. Strip the wires and connect them with a wire crimper. Make sure you know which will be the hot and which will be the ground. Crimp the connectors together to secure the wires. Use a heat gun at the connection to shrink the plastic and prevent moisture intrusion. If you plan to connect more than one light, you will need to splice another connector to the wire. Determine how much length you will need and clip the wire at that point. Attach another connector to the wire using the same method as the first wire. Remember, 2 wires will go into one side of the connector. Crimp them and hit it with the heat gun and you're ready to go. Insert the wires into a wire loom to help keep them together and prevent wear and tear before running the wires to the lights. We are going to run the wires to the backup light circuit so they will come on when the vehicle is in reverse. Before you splice, you will want to run the wire to the lights to ensure you have the right length. Turn the multimeter to the DC setting. Now touch the connectors to the wires to determine which is the hot wire and which is the ground. Now turn the circuit on. If you're tapping into a factory auxiliary switch, there will not be a ground wire and you will need to ground it on an unpainted bolt in the engine bay. Turn on the switch you want to use to activate the lights. Test the auxiliary wires with a red multimeter lead pressed into the wire and a black one held on the ground to identify which circuit is hot when that switch is in the on position. In our application, we had to turn the vehicle to the on position and shift to reverse. The multimeter should read about 12 volts. Be sure to turn the car off before you splice the wires. With the wires identified, we can now add connectors at the end that will plug into the T-tap connectors we add to the circuit. Go ahead and squeeze the T-tap sides together until they lock in place. You can buy these T-taps that you can simply squeeze directly onto the wires using pliers. Now that they are attached, you can plug the wires directly into the connectors. Use a heat gun to shrink the plastic on the connectors and situate any loose wires so they are not pinched. If tapping into an auxiliary button, first switch it off. Then strip off the end of the hot wire and use a connector and a crimping tool to splice it to your hot wire that goes to your LEDs. Be sure to use a heat gun to keep moisture out. Then attach the ground wire to an unpainted metal bolt that is used for a ground in the engine bay. At this point, connect the wires to the light pods. Be sure to reduce any slack in the wires by zip tying them to existing wires on the vehicle. At this point, flip the switch on or shift to reverse in our case and enjoy your new off-road lights. With a limited lifetime warranty, multiple mounting options, and factory wiring harnesses, not to mention over 100 years in the lighting business, SYLVANIA is your premium provider of off-road LED lights.